An amazing discovery by NASA to tell you about. The space agency's
NASA has announced the discovery of a planet that orbits two stars.
NASA's satellites have been capturing breathtaking images and making groundbreaking discoveries for years. But what if I told you some of those discoveries were downright strange? Yes, I am talking about diamond rain on Neptune and Uranus, also a planet with not one, not two, but 3 suns lighting up its sky.
At 8,000 kilometers deep, the pressure of the atmosphere is 80 times greater than that at the bottom of our deepest oceans.
These are just a few of the mind-blowing phenomena NASA's satellites have stumbled upon. So, are you ready? Let's dive in. Number 1. The giant hexagon on Saturn. The mysterious world of Saturn, where springtime brings an incredible sight. A gigantic hexagon-shaped storm. This hexagon, which has fascinated scientists since the Voyager spacecraft first spotted it back in the early 80s, is a whirlwind of wind, blowing at a staggering 220 miles per hour. But Saturn's North Pole was in total darkness for 15 years because the planet's rings were tipped away from us, blocking out the sunlight. Which one is cuter? Like for the dog, comment for the cat. During this long, dark period, all scientists could do was use infrared images to keep an eye on the hexagon.
Researchers think that friction with the slower clouds on either side of it creates eddies.
They saw that it was still there, but what is this hexagon? It's actually a narrow jet stream circling Saturn's North Pole. Scientists believe that friction with slower clouds around it creates small storms which push the jet stream into this wavy, 6-sided shape. So next time you hear someone talk about hexagons, just remember that Saturn has the coolest one in the solar system. Number 2. The Great Red Spot shrinking. Jupiter is the giant of our solar system, and it's been around for about 4.5 billion years. Even though it's made of similar materials as a star, it never got big enough to start burning like one. Its stunning appearance comes from the swirling gases and liquids inside, which create those colorful bands and the iconic Great Red Spot. But it's a massive storm, a gigantic cyclone that's been raging for over a century.
The Great Red Spot is a gigantic storm. It's an anticyclone, and with no landmass on the planet to slow it down.
With nothing on Jupiter to slow it down, this storm just keeps going and going. However, scientists have recently spotted some surprising changes. Can you guess what's happening? The storm is actually shrinking and becoming more rounded. Its color is also getting deeper. But while you might expect the storm to spin faster as it gets smaller, that's not the case. Instead, the Great Red Spot is getting taller. So, what's going on with this mysterious storm? Only time will tell. Number 3. Earth's cousin Kepler 400v2b. Meet Kepler 4i2b, often called Earth 2.0 or Earth's cousin. Located about 1/400 light-years away from Earth in the constellation Cygnus, Kepler 452b is quite a distance away. If we were to send a spacecraft like New Horizons, traveling at 59,000 kilometers per hour, it would take us about 30 million years to reach it.
Called Kepler 452b, is about 60% larger than Earth.
The planet is significantly larger than Earth, with a mass at least 5 times greater and a radius 1.5 times bigger. Kepler 452b is the first super-Earth planet discovered in the habitable zone of a star, very similar to our Sun. But here's the big question. Could it really support life? The planet gets slightly more energy from its star than Earth does, which means it might be at risk of a runaway greenhouse effect similar to what we see with extreme global warming. But maybe one day we'll have a neighbor in space. Number 4. The Interstellar Visitor Oumuamua. Oumuamua, officially known as 1I 2017 U1, was discovered by Robert Werrick on October 19, 2017. Oumuamua was already on its way out of our solar system when first noticed it. It had its closest approach to the Sun on September 9th, just 40 days before its discovery, and was about 33 million kilometers from Earth. For starters, it's a small, reddish object ranging from 100 to 1,000 meters in length, with a width and thickness between 35 and 167 meters.
Of any observed object, meaning that in slingshotting around the Sun, roughly near Mercury's orbit.
Unlike comets, it didn't have a visible coma, a cloud of gas and dust that usually forms around them. Oumuamua has a rotation rate similar to asteroids in our solar system, but is incredibly elongated. This odd shape has led scientists to wonder where it came from. Could it really be from another star system? Its trajectory suggests it's just passing through and will soon leave our solar system for deep space. Number 5. Water on Mars. Scientists have discovered a massive underground reservoir of liquid water on Mars. But Mars wasn't always the dry, dusty planet we see today. Billions of years ago, it had a thicker atmosphere, a warmer climate, and water flowed across its surface, carving out valleys, leaving behind water-related minerals. But all that's left now are frozen ice caps and this newly discovered underground water.
Is similar to what scientists use on Earth to study our planet's internal structure.
NASA's InSight lander made this amazing find by using seismic waves to look beneath Mars's surface. The data showed a huge reservoir of liquid water trapped in fractured rocks deep underground. So, what does this mean for us? Although this water is too deep for our current technology to reach, it opens up incredible possibility. Could Mars support microbial life like Earth does? Well, it's an exciting thought. Number 6. Supermassive black holes colliding. Ever wondered what happens when two supermassive black holes get ready to collide? Well, scientists have made some incredible progress in understanding this universe drama. In this video, these black holes are millions to billions of times heavier than our Sun. Yes, they're massive. And now, thanks to a new computer simulation, we're getting a closer look at what's happening as they spiral toward each other. So, what did the simulation reveal? For the first time, it used Einstein's theory of relativity to show us that as these black holes get closer, the gas around them starts glowing in ultraviolet and X-ray light. The simulation tracked 3 orbits of these black holes. As they near their collision, they produce a lot of UV light and some high-energy X-ray. This is similar to what we see in galaxies with superactive black holes. Number 7. Zombie star. Some stars don't stay dead after they die, and these stars are known as zombie stars. It's a special kind of stellar remnant that results from a supernova explosion. Now, you might be asking, what's a stellar remnant? Simply put, it's a star.
But also broadens our knowledge of the fundamental forces that shape the universe. By studying these rare and extreme objects
that's reached the end of its life and isn't burning fuel anymore. We usually deal with 2 types of stellar remnants, white dwarfs and neutron stars. But only white dwarfs can become these zombie stars. Now, what's a white dwarf? It's the leftover core of a star that wasn't massive enough to go out with a bang. Instead, it sheds most of its outer layers, leaving behind a super dense core. To give you a sense of scale, a white dwarf can be as dense as the Sun, but only as big as Earth. Crazy, right? It's like the star just refuses to stay down. Number 8. Diamond rain on Neptune and Uranus. Diamond rain on Uranus and Neptune. I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but give me just 2 minutes, and I promise you'll be as amazed as I was. So, how does this incredible phenomenon work? Well, Uranus and Neptune are known as ice giants because they're packed with water, ammonia, and methane. When these planets were forming, all these substances were frozen solid, either as ice or trapped in ice. But deep inside these planets, all that ice isn't just sitting there. It's under extreme pressure and heat.
There's a lot of water, ammonia and methane deep beneath the green or blue clouds, top of the Uranus and Neptune.
Scientists believe that this intense pressure could actually turn carbon into diamonds. Yes, diamonds could be forming and raining down inside Uranus and Neptune. Researchers have discovered that the innermost regions of these planets are insanely hot, around 6,727 degrees Celsius, and the pressure there is 6 million times greater than what we experience here on Earth. And closer to the surface, it's a bit cooler and less pressurized, but still pretty extreme. Number 9. Boomerang Nebula. Boomerang Nebula is one of the coolest places in the universe. Located 5,000 light-years away in the constellation Centaurus, this nebula is also known as the Bow Tie Nebula. The Boomerang Nebula is actually so cold that it has a temperature of just 1 Kelvin, which is about minus 272 degrees Celsius or minus 458 degrees Fahrenheit. That makes it the coldest natural place discovered so far.
resulting in the nebula's unusually low temperature, making it the coldest known place in the universe.
So why is it so chilly? The Boomerang Nebula is a star system that's on its way to becoming a planetary nebula. This means the star at its center is reaching the end of its life and is blowing off huge amounts of gas and dust. This outflow of material is creating a unique hourglass shape that we see from Earth, with two glowing lobes on either side. The gas is racing out at about 164 kilometers per second, which causes the nebula's super low temperature. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to bundle up just thinking about that icy nebula. Number 10. A planet with 3 suns. Ed, did you know that while most solar systems in our galaxy have just 2 stars, there's one unique system with not 2, but 3 stars? Meet KOI 5, located in the constellation of Cygnus. KOI 5, a stellar triple system that's over 1,170 light-years away from us. Yes, almost 2,000 light-years. It's made up of 3 stars, KOI 5a, KOI 5b, and KOI 5c. These stars are part of a complex dance that's absolutely mind-blowing. But wait, there's more. KOI 5c, the 3rd star, is in an even larger orbit. It takes a whopping 400 years to make a full circle around KOI 5a and KOI 5b. What do you think about this cosmic dance? Number 11. Dark Matter Galaxy Discovered. The story starts with a Swiss astronomer named Fritz Zwicky. After the Big Bang Theory was suggested, Zwicky noticed something strange with newly discovered galaxies. These galaxies were moving so fast that the clusters they were in should have flown apart, but they didn't. Why didn't they? Zwicky couldn't see anything through his telescope that would explain why these galaxies stayed together. So he came up with the term dark matter to describe this invisible force holding them in place. But his groundbreaking idea was mostly forgotten for nearly 40 years.
Found that the individual galaxies within those clusters are moving so fast.
Then enter Vera Rubin, an astronomer who made an incredible discovery. She found that stars on the edges of galaxies were moving so fast that they should have been flung out into space. But Rubin's observations showed that even though galaxies were spinning fast, the stars stayed in their orbits. So, what's keeping them there? It has to be something with gravity, but it's not something we can see. That mysterious force is what we now call dark matter. Well, now it seems like dark matter is the universe's best-kept secret. Number 12. Ghost Galaxy. NASA made a mind-blowing discovery in December 2023 that's got the science world buzzing. They found a galaxy named Aztec 71, but this galaxy has been completely invisible to other telescopes, including the famous Hubble. Yes, it's what scientists are calling a red ghost galaxy, but it's not just any galaxy. This thing is a dusty, star-making powerhouse.
Like large galaxies, which can remain relatively stable for billions of years, satellite galaxies tend to lead turbulent and chaotic lives.
A team of scientists revealed that Aztec 71 is churning out hundreds of new stars every single year. And this galaxy is so faint that even the James Webb telescope, with its top-notch technology, barely managed to spot it. This raises a huge question. Are there more galaxies like Aztec C71 out there, just waiting to be discovered? Number 13. Enceladus's geysers. Enceladus is Saturn's 6th largest moon, and honestly, it's one of the most incredible spots in our solar system. It's around 500 kilometers in diameter and way smaller than Saturn's biggest moon, Titan. But Enceladus is almost entirely covered in fresh ice, making it super reflective. Now you might be wondering, when did we first find out about this ice?
Abundances of the different kinds of molecules that are in that, that ring of material around Saturn.
Well, in 2005, the Cassini spacecraft started flying really close to Enceladus. And that's when things got exciting, because guess what Cassini found? Can you believe it? 200 kilograms of material every single second. I mean, who would have thought such a small moon could pack such a punch? Number 14. NGC 4921. NGC 4921 is a pretty unique galaxy. The center, or nucleus, has a bar-shaped structure surrounded by a ring of dust, which contains hot, young blue stars. But the outer part, it's got these unusually smooth, faint spiral arms that are hard to make out. Back in 1976, Canadian astronomer Sidney Vandenberg called this galaxy anemic because it doesn't produce stars very quickly. Here's something interesting. This galaxy is moving really fast, about 7,560 kilometers per second compared to the rest of the cluster. It's also low on hydrogen, the gas needed to form new stars, which might be why it doesn't form them quickly. Scientists think that the galaxy's gas is being stripped away by the intergalactic medium. Some of that gas is even falling back into the galaxy, which is a rare thing to observe. So yes, NGC 4921 is kind of a strange galaxy, but that just makes it all the more fascinating. Number 15, Jupiter's moon, Io. Io is one of Jupiter's moons, and it's not just any moon, it's an entire powerhouse. But what really sets it apart? Io boasts over 400 active volcanoes. That's right, 400, and they are constantly erupting, spewing out lava and gases like sulfur and sulfur dioxide. The result, a vibrant and ever-changing surface.
Which brings us to perhaps the most interesting part about Io, the hundreds of huge volcanoes all over its surface.
Painted in stunning shades of yellow, red, and black. So, what causes all of this? It's the incredible gravitational forces from Jupiter and its neighboring moon. These forces create friction inside Io, heating it up and making it one of the most geologically active places in the solar system. Io is like Jupiter's own personal fireworks show, but with a non-stop action. Number 16, X-ray signals from a distant galaxy. A team of astronomers has been studying a bunch of galaxy clusters, basically the biggest objects in the universe held together by gravity. And guess what? They found something strange. In their study, which included the famous Perseus cluster and 72 others, they spotted a mysterious X-ray signal. It was a sudden spike in intensity at a specific wavelength. So, what could be causing it? Well, scientists think it might be a particle called a sterile neutrino. But wait, before we get too excited, the researchers are saying it's still too early to be sure. Is this mysterious X-ray signal real? Could it really be the signature of the sterile neutrino? Number 17, Tatooine-like planet with twin suns. NASA has announced an amazing discovery, a planet orbiting two stars, and scientists have named it Kepler-16b. Kepler-16b is an intriguing exoplanet with a mix of gas and rock ice, similar to Saturn. It orbits two stars, making it the first confirmed planet to do so. What's really surprising about Kepler-16b is that it's closer to its stars than scientists thought possible.
NASA has announced the discovery of a planet that orbits two stars.
They believed that for a planet to orbit two stars and stay stable, it needed to be much farther away. But Kepler-16b's orbit is about half the distance scientists expected. Looks like the universe loves breaking its own rule. Number 18, dark vortex on Neptune. Neptune has just thrown a curveball at scientists with a brand new type of storm. For the first time ever, they've spotted a storm on Neptune changing direction and moving back towards the polar region after initially heading towards the equator. Back in 1989, the Voyager 2 spacecraft gave the first glimpse of Neptune's storms. These storms, known as dark spots, usually pop up at mid-latitudes, drift towards the equator, and then fade away after about 2 years.
These storms follow a specific pattern. They form at mid-latitudes, persist for around 2 years while gradually moving towards the equator, and eventually dissipate.
A smaller storm, nicknamed Dark Spot Junior, appeared nearby. By August 2020, NDS 2018 had completely changed direction, moving back north, and Dark Spot Junior had disappeared. So, what's going on? Could Dark Spot Junior have actually influenced NDS 2018's movement? Number 19, the fastest spinning black hole. Cygnus X1 is not just any black hole, it's a cosmic heavyweight, weighing in at 21 times more than our Sun, and spinning faster than any other black hole we know of. So, what does this mean for our understanding of black holes? Let's break it down a bit. The mass of a black hole depends on the size of its parent star and how much of it is made up of heavier elements. Throughout its life, a star sheds its outer layers through powerful winds.
As the matter falls into the black hole, it gets heated to millions of degrees and emits brilliant X-ray radiation.
Bigger stars, especially those rich in heavy elements, lose their mass more quickly. To account for the enormous size and speed of Cygnus X1, scientists think these stars must have lost less mass during their lifetimes than previously believed. So, in short, scientists have confirmed that Cygnus X1 spins incredibly fast, almost at the speed of light and faster than any other black hole ever discovered. How awesome is that? Number 20. The Cosmic Hand of God. NASA's X-ray telescopes are using X-rays to explore a cosmic structure that looks astonishingly like a giant hand in space. Are you curious to know more? Well, this cosmic hand is called MSH 1552, and it's a nebula created by a dead star. But how did this space hand come to be? For this, let me take you on an incredible journey.
Moving away from the poles of the pulsar, along with an intense wind, forming a pulsar wind nebula.
Around 1509 years ago, a massive star ran out of fuel and collapsed into an incredibly dense object known as a neutron star. These neutron stars spin incredibly fast and have super strong magnetic fields. They shoot out jets of particle, creating what we call a pulsar wind nebula. In 2001, NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory spotted this pulsar, known as PSR B15958, and discovered that its nebula, MSH 1552, takes on the shape of a hand. Who knew the universe was such an artist? Number 21. Titan's methane lakes. Titan is massive, bigger than Mercury, and has a super thick atmosphere, way denser than Earth's. But why should you care about Titan? Well, Titan's surface is hiding something incredible, huge lakes of liquid methane. Yes, the first open bodies of liquid discovered outside of Earth. And that's not all. Titan experiences rainstorms too, but instead of water, it rains slow-falling methane droplets.
The probe penetrated the thick hydrocarbon atmosphere and landed on Titan's surface.
How wild is that? On Earth, methane is usually a gas known as natural gas, which comes from decomposing organisms and is used as fuel. But on Titan, this methane isn't just a gas, it's forming lakes and rain. Well, Titan's definitely got some seriously out-of-this-world weather. Number 22. Rogue planets. Rogue planets are gigantic worlds that drift alone in the dark expanse of space, unbound by any star. Take PSO J38.5-22, for example. Discovered in 2013, is a gas giant about 80 light-years away and has about 6.5 times the mass of Jupiter. Despite its young age of just 12 million years, it has already drifted away from its solar system. Then there is SIMP J0365.5+0933, which was initially thought to be a failed star, but is now considered a large gas planet. Located 20 light-years away, it has 12.7 times the mass of Jupiter and boasts a magnetic field 4 million times stronger than Earth's, creating a stunning aurora. Number 23. The Snowman-shaped asteroid Arakoth. On December 31st, 2018, humanity got its first look at Ultima Thule. Ultima Thule is a contact binary, meaning it's actually two objects that have stuck together. Picture a snowman, and you're pretty close to what it looks like. This snowman-shaped object rotates once every 15 hours or so. When you have two spheres rotating, the surface area you see doesn't change much, so the brightness stays pretty even. But since Ultima Thule is shaped like a snowman rather than a perfect sphere, the amount of light it reflects changes as it spins, creating some fascinating variations in brightness. It was so gentle that if it happened here on Earth, you might not even spill a cup of coffee. Crazy, right? Number 24. Magnetic bubble. The Voyager spacecraft have been cruising away from Earth for more than 33 years. And guess what? They've now reached the very edge of our solar system. This boundary is marked by the sun's magnetic field and solar wind, which create a giant bubble around us called the heliosphere. So, what happens as the solar wind moves farther out from the sun?
The Voyager spacecraft have now found that after the termination shock, these stacked up ripples of magnetic field form bubbles, shown here as a computer simulation.
Now, the sun's magnetic field works in a pretty weird way. It spins in one direction at the North Pole and the opposite direction at the south. Where these two meet, it forms a sheet that ripples as it moves outward. But when this rippling sheet hits the termination shock, it's like waves crashing into a wall. After the shock, those magnetic ripples stack up and form bubbles. I mean bubbles in space. Now that's something you don't see every day. Number 25, the farthest galaxy. HD1 is thought to be one of the oldest and farthest galaxies ever discovered. But the most interesting question is, why does HD1 look red? It's because of something called redshift. This happens when an object is moving away from us, causing its light to stretch out and shift towards the red part of the light spectrum. Finding this galaxy wasn't a walk in the park either. It took over 1,200 hours of observing time using 4 powerful telescopes. Out of 700,000 objects, HD1 was the one that stood out. Despite its red appearance, the galaxy is super bright in ultraviolet light. So, what's going on inside HD1 that's making it so energetic? Well, there are 2 possible answers. First, it could be a starburst galaxy, meaning it's forming stars at a crazy fast rate. Or HD1 might actually be a quasar, which is one of the most powerful objects in the universe. And that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get all our videos on time. Until next time.